橄榄油价格相差1倍，但从外观左看右看都很难发现差别。
Olive oil has been adulterated for thousands of years because it is of high value and it is sought out.
They might flavor it with beta carotene and maybe color it with a little chlorophyll to make it a little more green. And so then you've got a lower quality, cheaper oil.
像这样欺骗消费者的行为绝对不是特例，不论是稀释、造假，还是使用错误的食物标签，都是所谓的食物诈骗。根据美国 FDA 估计，类似的食物诈骗影响全球1%的食品，造成的损失超过400亿美元。也就是说，大部分的人几乎每天都会接触到这些造假的食物。
Grocery manufacturers of America estimated that 10% of the commercially available food in the United States is adulterated. That's 1 in 10. It means if you're not on that 8-item or less checkout line, you've got something in your cart when you leave the supermarket. That's probably bogus.
通常这些黑心食品业者会锁定高价值的食物，用价钱更低廉的类似商品作为替换，不只是橄榄油，香料也常被以假乱真。
Popular spices like basil and chili powder from a range of different brands.
Anything that's kind of colored orange, brown, and ground up can be passed off as turmeric.
不少海鲜切分之后看起来大同小异，也都被鱼目混珠，当作高价的商品卖出。
If you're an experienced chef or fishmonger, you can look at like a red snapper fillet and tell whether it's red snapper, but 99% of consumers can't. You know, most of the fish we eat is white fish. Every fillet looks pretty much the same, which is why there's so much substitution. The FDA is mandated by law to inspect 2% of the imported seafood, which is, I think, a very, very low bar.
消费者花了冤枉钱还是小事，就怕吃了伤身体，还不见得会发现这是黑心食品搞的鬼。
CDC estimates about 50 million people a year contract a foodborne illness. Only 20%, 1 in 5 of those can be identified. So there's 40 million people a year getting sick from something they ate that we don't know what it is, and a good guess would be that fraud has something to do with that.
就算会伤害消费者的健康，食品业者还是昧着良心造假，就是因为真的太好赚，而且很难查出是哪一环出了问题。
If you have a ton of coffee and you can turn that into 1.2 tons by adding some cheap filler to it, you've just increased your profits by 20%. And a lot of these products pass through a lot of hands. They go from small growers to big trucks to tankers to boats to processing plants. It's not necessarily like this big company that's selling you coffee that's ripping you off. It can happen in a lot of ways along the way.
罪魁祸首难以追查，对于食物诈骗的刑责也相当轻。2016年，美国就查出标示100%帕玛森乳酪的产品，其实是便宜的切达乳酪加上木头纤维，里面连1%的帕玛森乳酪都没有。但负责人也只被罚款$5000，加上200小时的社会服务，根本很难达到防止食物诈骗的作用。
These cases rarely result in criminal penalties. If you want to be like a drug dealer and import heroin and you get arrested on a large scale, you're going to go to jail. But if you can make $80 million importing adulterated honey, and then you're going to get a slap on the wrist and some fines, why wouldn't you do food instead of drugs if there's no basically criminal downside to it?
专家因此建议消费者购买之前要确定供应商的来源，尽量不要买来路不明的商品，也不要花大钱去买自己不熟悉的产品。例如不懂红酒好坏，就不要轻易砸钱购买，来避免受骗。也要求政府加强食品法规，否则赔上的可能是民众的健康。TVBS 新闻综合报道。
想扩大国际视野，掌握趋势，请订阅专门报道国际新闻的 YouTube 频道 TVBS 国际 Plus， 记得要开启小铃铛哦。